Welcome to this explainer. All right, let's just dive right into it. Today, we're taking some deeply profound psychological concepts and, well, we're turning them into a totally practical, everyday toolkit for your career. We're drawing straight from Jordan B. Peterson's best-selling book, 12 Rules for Life. But listen, we're not just sitting around looking at theory today. We are actively translating these fundamental rules of human behavior into really actionable strategies to help you navigate the modern workplace. We're going to deconstruct the 9-to-5 grind, completely tear it down, and show you how to build it back up into something that actually has meaning.
So think about this for a second. Do you negotiate fairly with yourself, or are you a tyrant to your own slave? Wow. It's a piercing question from our source material, and it really challenges your default mindset. I mean, how exactly do you treat yourself when the pressure is on at work? Do you just force yourself through the daily grind, totally ignoring your own needs until you're completely burned out? Or do you actually know how to entice yourself into sustainable, productive activity? It's a harsh reality check on personal accountability, right?
Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. 1. Order in the workplace. 2. Own your personal accountability. 3. Setting firm professional boundaries. 4. The daily progress method. And 5. The compound interest of growth. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Order in the workplace. Stop blaming the system. Look, when you're feeling overwhelmed or exhausted, the easiest thing in the world to do is blame corrupt corporate structures or bad management. But our source material argues that focusing on them first, that's a massive trap. The author lays out this really blunt rule. Set your house in perfect order before you criticize the world. Now, if we brilliantly illustrate this for our careers, it basically means real professional change does not start by trying to overhaul the entire company culture. Actually, scratch that. You can't overhaul the culture without taking radical personal accountability first. You've got to clean up your own immediate local environment. Basically, you can't fix the macro if your micro is in total shambles.
So look at your own literal desk right now. Or, your digital workspace, your inbox, your calendar. What tiny bit of chaos might you eradicate right this second? Tonight. You have to find the small, totally manageable pieces of chaos that you actually have control over and conquer them. Because organizing your physical and digital space literally signals to your brain that you are a competent individual. You're capable of bringing order to chaos. And honestly, that is exactly where true professional authority begins.
Which brings us to Section 2, owning your personal accountability, or Rule 2 at work. This completely shifts how you manage your career. You see, you are morally obliged to take care of yourself at work just as well as you would take care of a valued colleague.
Now, what's really fascinating about this concept is the huge distinction the author makes between what is good for you and what just makes you happy. The source uses this great analogy. Giving a child candy every time they want it definitely makes them happy, but it's certainly not good for them, right? Well, the exact same applies to you at the office. Coasting through the workday or avoiding a super difficult project might make you happy in the moment, but it's really not good for your long-term career. So treating yourself like someone you are genuinely responsible for helping means mapping out a career path that challenges you, makes you productive, and forces you to grow.
This naturally leads to a heavily contrasted dynamic in the office. On one side, we have the agreeable avoidant employee. You know the type. They assume cooperation is a given, they avoid absolutely all conflict, and as a result, they build up this massive, silent resentment when they aren't recognized. On the flip side, we have the assertive, integrated employee. They bargain hard for themselves, they demand proper recognition, and they are definitely not afraid to push back. They know for a fact that if they don't advocate for themselves, they'll eventually just end up subjugated. All right, that brings us directly to Section 3, setting firm professional boundaries and the hidden cost of being too nice. We so often think that being the ultimate team player, never saying no, always taking on everyone else's slack, is the absolute peak of professional virtue. But the source material warns us that this interpersonal dynamic actually backfires terribly.
So, the crucial point here is defined as compassion as a vice. When two agreeable people constantly sacrifice for others to avoid necessary conflict, they don't magically become saints. They actually become deeply resentful. It's like they act as if everyone else is a distressed child who needs saving. If you don't stand up for yourself and demand basic reciprocity, your dark side emerges. Your subjugation just turns into bitterness, making you completely toxic to yourself and, ironically, to the very team you thought you were helping. To make this super concrete, the author tells a mini story that I'm pretty sure we've all lived through at some point.
Imagine someone power-hungry at your workplace introduces a new rule. It's completely unnecessary, it's counterproductive, it literally just removes meaning from your work. The immediate temptation is to just pretend it's okay, right? It's easier to be agreeable. It's kind of just not worth the complaint.
Wrong. Because pretending an unnecessary rule is okay breeds bureaucratic stagnation. If you fail to react the first time, you literally train yourself to allow it. You become a little less courageous. The institution becomes a little more corrupt. And honestly, your soul is a little more in danger. Setting a boundary here isn't about being difficult. It's about protecting the integrity of your work and your own self-respect. Sometimes, conflict is entirely necessary to prevent systemic rot.
Let's move to Section 4, the daily progress method. This is Rule 4 in practice. We're moving from a mindset shift right into a highly tactical method. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Here is the exact step-by-step routine you should implement at the end of your workday. Step 1, aim small. Don't try to reinvent your entire career overnight. Step 2, ask yourself, what could I do right now that would make tomorrow a tiny bit better? Step 3, do it. Even if you do it badly, just send that one scary email, organize that one messy folder. And Step 4, reward yourself. Seriously, give yourself that cup of coffee in absolute triumph. This loop builds essential, undeniable trust with yourself.
The author points out something wild. Around 500 small decisions and tiny actions compose your day, every single day. 500. If you can just aim 1 or 2 of those 500 decisions at a slightly better result, the shift is monumental. You don't need a total life overhaul. You just need to win a couple more of those 500 micro-battles than you did yesterday.
And that leads us to our final section, the compound interest of growth and aiming for meaning. Because why are we doing all of this? Why clean the desk, set the boundaries, and track the tiny daily progress? Well, because of the long-term payoff.
Notice how bringing order to chaos just kind of aligns everything. When you start stacking these positive actions, when you stop lying to yourself, when you actually negotiate for your own good, everything aligns along a single axis. You become psychologically integrated. The small habits stack up to produce maximal meaning in your professional life.
To summarize the formula here, base your workplace decisions on what is deeply meaningful, not what is merely expedient or easy in the moment. Discard the expedient. Let the compound interest of those daily, incremental improvements work for you. The source material boldly claims that if you maintain this discipline, your baseline of comparison gets higher every single day. Do this consistently, and you will completely transform your career and your life in just 3 years. 3 years!
And this brilliantly illustrates our final core thought. What you aim at determines what you see. It's incredible. If you aim at resentment, you are literally going to see a workplace full of enemies and unfairness. But if you set your sights in the good, the beautiful, and the true, if you aim at personal responsibility and meaning, your literal perception of your daily reality shifts. You will start seeing opportunities for growth and order where you previously only ever saw frustration.
So, I leave you with this question to ponder today. What tiny bit of chaos can you eradicate at work right now to transform your career trajectory over the next 3 years? The path to meaning starts with that single small step. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to go negotiate fairly with yourself today.